When I was a kid and I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons, one of the aphorisms that they tried to peddle to us was good always triumphs over evil, and obviously that's not true. Anyone who's lived in the real world knows that's not true. But it's pushed pretty hard in at least the kids programming in my day. Shredder is always going to get his comeuppance from the Ninja Turtles. G.I. Joe is always going to fuck up Cobra. That's just how it is. Good wins, evil loses. End of story. But of course, not only is that not true, but it's almost like the inverse is true. That evil always triumphs over good. And this shooting in New Zealand is yet another example of that. 49 people going about their lives, Muslims going to mosque, going to pray, going to worship their idea of God. Like so many people do. You got Christians go to church, Muslims go to mosque, Jews go to synagogue, Hindus, I don't know what the fuck they go to, but they probably go to something. An atheist like me who just stay at home. But then it takes one guy, one coward with a gun and a willingness to use it on unarmed people who have never done him any harm. And that's all you need to end 49 lives, break the hearts of any family or friends of those people, shock the entire world. One person has that power. One person with a gun and some social media savvy can just going to take it into this mosque. I'm going to shoot these people. I'm going to make a name for myself. Here's my manifesto. Here's the video of me shooting them that looks like a fucking Call of Duty game or some shit. And, I've been up for the last 5 hours. And I've been thinking about this video the entire time, and you can see I still don't know what the fuck to say. I'm just, I didn't want to write a script, because there's just no way. There's no way to capture it all. And there's no way that I'm going to be able to capture it all just sitting here rambling in front of the camera. It's too big. It's too big. I was last night working on an episode of Dank Dungeons and Drunken Dragons for my Patreon. It's a little show we do where we play, tabletop RPG games. And it's always fun. We get stoned, we get drunk, we get gluttonous, we eat spicy things, and we play the game, and it's always a fun time. It's always a big, long 4 or 5 hour session of gaming and having a good time and camaraderie and all the stuff that you want to do on a fun night with your friends. And it's always a great time, and it's always super enjoyable. But midway through, my brother's wife, Taylor, told us there had been a huge shooting in New Zealand, and it was at a mosque, and before the shooter had done what he did, he had, made a statement to the effect of subscribe to PewDiePie. That was the first things I heard about it. Big shooting, mosque, New Zealand, PewDiePie. And instantly, the first thought I had, I'll be honest with you, it was a selfish thought. It was a selfish thought. It was a thought of, oh, well, this is just going to make things harder for me. And for all YouTube creators, for all content creators, independent ones out there across the spectrum of entertainment, especially those who are trying to give political opinion, and especially people like me who have been traditionally free speech absolutists. So my first thing was, great, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be an obstacle for me. Then I started to think about it a little less selfishly. And I went and I read the manifesto. And I'm not going to mention the killer's name here. It seems like people don't really like when you do that anymore. And I can kind of see why, especially in the wake of this most recent attack, because it's clear that, this dude did what he did to get the voice that he now has, to get people interested in his manifesto. To get, he basically, I saw someone comment that he treated the shooting like it was just another video idea, and that chills me to the bone because, making videos is what I do. That's what I've done for 13 fucking years. So to think there's someone out there who's treating, taking the lives of 49 people the same way that I would approach, I got a great idea for a video, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about that. No, he's just going to bypass that, and I'm just going to kill a bunch of people. I'm just going to kill people, and then everyone will want to read my big, sexy manifesto. And the manifesto is, what you'd expect. It's a bunch of white supremacy garbage. It's a bunch of ethno-state garbage. It's a bunch of, it basically lays out his plan for what he wants to happen. He wants to divide people against each other. He wants to increase the atmosphere of censorship. He wants to get people's guns confiscated. He wants to create new class divisions and, most importantly, new racial divisions between everybody so that there can be, this big civil war throughout the West. And eventually it can be restored into a white ethno-state. That's the objective. And it's rhetoric that wasn't new to me. I'd heard it before. I've heard it from people all across the YouTube platform, Twitter platform, whatever social media platform there is, there's tons of people with the same talking points as this dude's manifesto. This is not an original idea that he came up with. This is something that's been out there. And I've defended the free speech rights of many of those people who espouse those positions. So, obviously, so many people, they have a very reflexive reaction to these things. They want to instantly be like, this is their fault, or this isn't my fault, or whatever. If you're someone who's ever had a talking point similar to anything in his manifesto, instantly you're on the defensive. Instantly you're trying to shift the blame. Instantly you're trying to say this had nothing to do with me. And if you're someone who's on the opposite side, you're on the pro-censorship side, you're on the side that says that these ideas are just too dangerous to exist in society, then those people are all like, see, we are vindicated. We're vindicated. We're vindicated. Well, let's remember what happens when the shoe is on the other foot. When a crazy right-wing extremist goes and kills a bunch of Muslims, everyone on the left says, don't judge all Muslims by this. And everyone on the right says, no, you should judge all Muslims by this. And now it's the exact opposite. Now that a crazy right-winger has shot a bunch of Muslims, now all of the right-wingers are like, hey, don't judge us all by this. And all the left-wingers are like, no, we should judge you all by this. So it's just a matter of both of these sides, once again, being exactly the same. It just depends on which fucking shoe the foot is on. Then their principles change. It shifts like on a dime. And it's a shame. But I choose not to have a reactionary take on this. I choose to have an introspective take on this. And my introspection was, is free speech absolutism worth it? Is it worth the propagation of these ideas to, if it's going to lead to stuff like this, is it worth defending that speech? And I just don't know. I think I know, but I don't really. And if you want to know what I think, I think that it is. I think that it is worth defending freedom of speech. Just like I was against Trump's quote-unquote Muslim ban, because I believe that freedom of religion is enshrined as a value and a principle of our country. And it's just for this. It's for the same reason. I mean, I feel like people have a right to live, and people have a right to be free, and the only people who don't have a right to be free are those who use that freedom to rob other people of life. And I'm against violence in all shapes, sizes, forms, whatever. Condemn it across the board. I've seen people lamenting that this guy can't be executed because there's no death penalty in New Zealand. Well, I'm glad there's no death penalty in New Zealand, because the last thing I want is more death in this situation. The last thing I want is for another life to be taken. You know, and maybe people see his life as having no value because of what he's done. And I can understand that impulse, but I don't agree with it. I think that you have to, at some point, understand what's causing this, and not in a specific way, because we get lost sometimes in the specificity. It doesn't really matter whether you're talking about Islamic extremist or right-wing extremist or the occasional left-wing extremist or whatever. It doesn't really matter what people are killing for, aside from the fact that they're all killing in the name of hatred. Because no one's out there killing for love. No one's going out there and mowing down 49 people for peace and love. Although it does say, ironically, in the killer's manifesto that he hopes that ultimately the result of this is going to be peace. Well, no, you're not going to get peace that way. You're not going to get peace by mowing down innocent people. Sorry, it just doesn't work. It never will. I wish I had something more poignant to say, but I don't. This is where I am. I'm confused. I'm distressed, and I just would love to see a day when we're willing to set aside hatred, whatever our ideology may be. Just don't hate people who disagree with you. Don't hate people who choose to live a different way. Live and let live. I mean, it's so fucking easy. It's been talked about forever. And you know what the sad thing is? Most people are on board with it. The vast majority of people, left, right, Muslim, Christian, atheist, gay, straight, trans, whatever, are on board with the idea of live and let live, are on board with the idea of violence is wrong and violence is bad, but all it takes is that one son of a bitch. All it takes is that one stupid fuck who's willing to put their ideology and their hatred above everybody else. And they're willing to kill for it. And they're willing to die for it. And fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them all. Anybody who's willing to do that is a piece of shit. And unfortunately, all it takes is one piece of shit to kill 40, 50, 60 people, maybe more. You know, like 9/11, that was what, 19 dudes? And a few more back home in Saudi Arabia or wherever planning the whole fucking deal? Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, all that shit. People trying to blame one another, people trying to score political points, people trying to virtue signal, whatever. You know, that's always going to happen. We can't stop that. And I'm not even trying to stop that. But what I'm trying to stop, and what everyone should be trying to stop, is these people, these pieces of shit, who think that it's their right to end the lives of other human beings, that it's a power that should belong to them, that it's a right that exists for them to just end people in the pursuit of some agenda that they think justifies it all. There's no justification. There never was. There never will be. It's wrong. It's fucking wrong. I remember I ironically once sold a shirt that said murder is bad because it's just a sentiment that everyone agrees with. But some people apparently need to hear the fucking message. It is. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you're the most fucking crazy right-winger on the face of the earth. Or you could be monumentally to the left, monumentally to the right. You can be a racist piece of garbage. I don't give a fuck. Just don't kill people. Don't use violence against people. Use your words. And that's what I support. That's why I support freedom of speech. You know, have your battle with a war of words and a war of ideas in an open marketplace of ideas. Don't get an M16 and shoot a bunch of people. But unfortunately, some people feel like that's the only way they're going to be heard, and society sends them the message that they're right. Because I've read the manifesto. You've probably read the manifesto. If you haven't, you've at least heard excerpts from the news media. I don't fucking know. I wish I did.